In this video, we're going to look at how you can hover over your navigation bar to show your drop-down menu instead of having to click to show the menu. So I'm going to show you an example here. So you see here how you can hover and show those links. Instead of having to click, you can just hover over. I'm going to show you how you can add that in your store. So what you want to do first is come to your code file, your Shopify website, and in the search bar here, search for header.liquid. We want to make a search there, header.liquid. The next thing that you want to do is once you get into this page, you're going to look for, you're going to look for the code that says header.inline.menu. So all of this code here is referring to this mega menu, which are these links here. This is referred to the mega menu when you see these additional links here. So you want to just scroll through. In fact, what you probably can do to make this a little bit easier is to, let's say, how can we make this easier? Because we want to add our code. So what I'm going to do is search for this. Search for this right here. Search for something like this. Header, and remove this. Header 2_ menu dash item list dash menu _ item. Now, it might not come up exactly like this, but I want you to find code that looks something similar to this, because right under this code is where we're going to be adding a new piece of code. So once you find this code, if you see something like this, or if yours looks something similar to this, all I want you to do is to continue going up until you see a final end if. You understand? Final end if, because you see here, this is where the header ends. So if anything, you just want to see where it says that final end if, or if you want to keep it simple, you can also do a search for this. You can also do a search for wherever the header tag closes. In either case, we're going to be adding our code right before this. So you can either do a search for this, find that last if statement when it ends, or you can just do a search for whenever the header closes, whichever one is easier for you. Once you found location, we just want you to make a couple spaces in between, because this is the code that we're going to be adding in here. It's a simple script, and I'm going to break down. While I'm breaking down, feel free to copy this code. I'm just going to break down very simply what this code is doing for us. So the first thing that we're doing is we're looking for all of the inline menu items on the page. So inline menu is referring to these inline links here, all these links right here. So we're looking for all of the ones that refer to the details. So these details in each specific dropdown, we want to do a search for all of these specific items. Now, to make sure that this is working correctly and you're targeting the actual items, what I would recommend doing is to do console.log items like this, just to make sure. So in fact, let's do that real quick. So we're going to click save like this. We're going to come here, let's refresh this page. Come here, inspect like this, console. Okay, let's refresh that one more time. Okay, good. So you see, boom, 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 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so if you see something like this, you're on the right track so far, you're targeting the right item. Okay, good. So the next thing that you want to do is we're going to be looping through each item. For each specific item that refers to this, the information here, the inline menu, we're going to be doing loop through each one for each. And to see, okay, first we want to make sure that it's being hovered over, which is why we add this mouse over event. Hover over each specific item. Once it's hovered over, we want to make sure that the attribute is set to true, set to open or set to true. Once we do that, we want to target each specific list, UL in the specific. Now, I forgot what UL, let me see. UL, let's see. Unordered list. I was trying to remember what the word was. Unordered list, yes. So we want to target each specific unordered list, and then we want to say, okay, if the mouse is left, which means that once you hover over it to show, but once the mouse leaves, we want to remove it. So you would simply come in here and say, if the mouse is left, then remove the open attribute. Again, if the mouse is left, remove the open attribute. That's all this is saying here. So we're going to do it one more time. If the mouse is over, then set it to open. If it's set to open, that means that you want these items to show. If it's set to true, if it's set to open, the items will show. But as soon as the mouse is left, we want to reverse that. So you're going to do another event to see if the mouse is left, remove the item attribute of open. Now again, you notice how you don't have to put false here. You can just say set attribute and remove attribute, set to open and then true remove attribute open. And again, you want to do the same thing here. Add event listener that the mouse is left to remove that open attribute. Now, you might be wondering why it's mentioned twice. This is just as an additional check because sometimes when you have it set up here in your loop, then it will work. But then if you don't have like an additional check and you don't add that second check to make sure that if the mouse is left, that the items no longer show, sometimes it still won't kick in, and then you move your mouse, the items will still show. So it's always good to have a second check here just to make sure that when the mouse shows that you set this attribute open to true, the items show. But then once your mouse is actually left, that these items are no longer showing. So this is just acting as an initial check. But once again, because this is looping through each item, it's going to restart once your mouse moves to the next event. So you don't have to worry about two unordered lists showing up at the same time. So that's what this code is saying for us here. Feel free to try this out on your store. And again, you definitely want to do console log throughout this to make sure that everything is working as it's supposed to, make tweaks as needed. If you need any help setting this up on your store, I'm more than happy to help. I know this can get a little bit confusing at times, but if you need any help, I'm more than happy to help get this set up for your store. And you should, if everything works correctly, you should have something like this where all your items are showing. Once you move your mouse, they disappear, you hover, it shows up. So once again, I hope this video was helpful. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions.